Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to Growing Through It, a podcast dedicated to bringing you clarity so that you can harness your curiosity and be the creator of your life. Hosted by me, Shanae Rowe. Hello, my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for joining me again for another episode. I'm happy to have you back here in this space. Welcome to episode 28, and I am so excited to share this episode with you because it is spring. It feels like spring. It smells like spring. It is just spring. It looks like spring, and I'm so excited. And this episode is going to be all about it, okay? And it is called We Are Thriving in Spring, How to Tap into the Season of Growth. So let's jump into this episode. I hope you've all had a wonderful week and you are enjoying the sun and the smells and the blooming flowers and the butterflies and bugs around everywhere. So I didn't even really have any plans of creating an episode to do with spring. But over the last week or so, I have been having lots of thoughts, I guess, as you do. But I've been having thoughts about the similarities between the human experience and the seasons. So, summer, autumn, winter, spring, and then, humans, and how a lot of the time we're referred to as, we're nature and we exist as the seasons do, and you can't bloom all year round. Like, you've probably seen quotes and stuff like that where it's like, you don't expect a flower to bloom all year round, so why do you expect yourself to? So this is kind of drawing on that kind of stuff, but I've had lots of realizations. Coming into spring, I'm feeling bloody amazing. I'm feeling full of energy. I'm feeling light and ready to have fun and be playful and just super duper positive. And I'm not sure if it's a collective thing or if it's just me and a couple of people, but I find that when it comes to spring, coming into spring, I always feel a change, a shift in myself, in my energies, in my actual physical world. And I've noticed as well over the years, it's always September, October, November, and December, a little bit of December, where crap happens. So much change happens externally, in the physical world, whether that's traveling or moving house or making new friends, or you're always out there in the sun enjoying the beach, you're enjoying the days. Lots is happening. You're go, 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 but it doesn't feel heavy. It's super light and fluffy, and you're just having a wonderful time. So I've been thinking and reflecting a lot on that and sort of the mental state that we're in to experience that, and drawing a lot of similarities and things from actual nature. Because if you guys look around, you've probably seen lots of flowers blooming, the bees are out. I've seen so many caterpillars lately, the proper caterpillars that move, the very hungry caterpillar. And they're so cute. But there's bugs and there's butterflies and just everything's coming alive. And I feel the same way. I really do. And it's got me so curious about the ways that humans and nature work. So I did a little bit of research on flowers specifically and how they bloom. So I actually spent my morning looking up the cycle of plants and flowers and stuff. And don't quote me on any of this, but I found it super fascinating. And I have a little bit of wisdom for you guys, a little bit of education if you want to learn about nature, because it was super duper fascinating. So yeah, how do flowers bloom? And the first thing, as we come into spring, or basically the plant is waiting for the right conditions, so sunlight, water, temperature, right? So they're dormant until they get the right conditions, okay? And that is, in spring. It's when the days are getting longer, the temperature's increasing because the sun's out for longer, and then the flowers are like, hey, it's time to bloom. And they actually have a chemical protein. It's called FKF1 protein. I don't know what it stands for. I didn't write that down, but it's a protein that is photosensitive, which means that it is sensitive to temperature and warmth and light. So as we approach the warmer months, the plants and the flowers and things feel that heat, that temperature rise, the longer days, and so they start releasing this protein. And so that protein is activated and lots of chemical reactions go on inside the flower, and that causes them to bloom, which is super cool. But yeah, all different plants have like different, I guess, thresholds, which is why they bloom at different times. Like not everything is blooming right now, but we know it's spring. There are flowers starting to blossom and the bees are out pollinating things. And while I was researching this, I thought it was super cool. Flowers and things and all plants, they bloom, they blossom at different times because of pollination. Because if they all bloomed at the one time, they'd pollinate each other, but it wouldn't allow for the flowers to reproduce enough and survive into the next season. So they actually have different times so that the bees come along and pollinate at different times, and they keep the flowers and the cycle of the plants alive so that they can survive over winter and then bloom again for the next season. I thought that was super cool. And then it got me thinking, what happens over winter? Because what I have been noticing is spring, you're feeling really, like as people, we're feeling rejuvenated, we're feeling a little bit, we're curious, we want to get out there, we want to socialize a bit more and have a bit of fun, be a bit playful. But it got me thinking a lot about the role of winter. And so me reflecting on the last few months of winter, I've been super introspective. As people, we don't really do much. We just hang about inside, especially if you're in cold winter. Not so much if you're, tropical. But when it's cold, we stay inside. We go into hibernation. And it's the same with plants and flowers. So yeah, I was doing some more research on that. And in winter, the roots of the plants and the flowers, they go on underground and they conserve all of their energy. So in spring and summer, the plants are getting all of their, photosynthesis and whatever, and they're having the time of their life basking in the rays of the sun. And then in winter, they have all of that energy stored and they use that so that they can survive until the next season where they bloom. So plants do go into hibernation like animals and like people. We all hibernate. And I also found out that plants have metabolisms. That's so crazy. But just like us, metabolisms of plants slow down over winter, and so they're only using the energy and the chemicals and the hormones that they need in order to survive. So they're only using the essentials that will keep them alive until they're ready to bloom again, until, they get their proteins activated and they can, have a party again in the sun, which is really, really cool. Yeah, I found it so fascinating learning about that, and it just made me think, we are flowers. People, humans, we're all flowers. We're nature, we're plants, we're flowers. And I think our winter, when we're indoors, we're being really slow, we're, reflecting on ourselves. And I find in winter, what's really wonderful is that it's a time to mentally unpack all of the things that happened in our spring and our summer. It's much like how plants use the energy that they obtained in spring and summer to push them through the winter. But for us, it's like in spring and summer, we're out there having the time of our lives, we're having fun, we're meeting people, we're having wonderful experiences and challenging ourselves. And then in winter, we slow down and we start reflecting on that. We start thinking about this person that we met and they're a wonderful addition to our life, or maybe we met this person and they're probably not the best for us, or, you know, we really liked traveling to this part of the world and this kind of culture, and we want to embody parts of that, bring parts of that back to our life, you know, not just travel. We want to actually incorporate these values and beliefs into our everyday life. So I think our winter, literally our winter, as in the seasons, but also the winter within ourselves, we're doing a lot of self-reflection and introspection and unpacking the wonderful, crazy, high energy times of spring and summer. Another thing that I noticed when it comes to spring, and I'm not sure if everyone feels the same, but I get so nostalgic over smells. So many times I've just been at work and I smell something and it just like takes me back. I'm like childhood, or when I was traveling, or anything. I'm like, that smells like this moment in my life. I actually had one last week. I was at work and it smelled like sawdust, or I don't know what specifically it was, but my brain just like teleported back in time, and I was at my old job in Geelong at like working at a grain port, and I was like, oh my God, what a time. Like, what a different chapter of my life, what a journey. And it was great. And then I had another moment where I smelt something and it reminded me of last year traveling far north Queensland in my van, not knowing what the frick I was doing, but feeling confident, and like smelling that smell reminded me of how brave I am and how courageous and free-spirited and kind of naive I am. And I was like, that's nice. I love that smell. And I honestly think spring is doing that intentionally. Like, it has all of these intense, very obvious smells being like released everywhere, and smell is such a strong sense, and it has that magical ability to take us back in time. And I think that's intentional, because when we get memories, when we get that nostalgic memory of like experiences are like amazing, and we miss it, or we're thankful, we have gratitude for it, it allows us to focus on what we like and what we want, or just have gratitude for those moments that have allowed us to get to where we are enjoying life. I think it's very purposeful. Like, sometimes I'll smell lavender and I'll be teleported back in time to when I was like incredibly, incredibly depressed during school. And it's a time where I can reflect. I'm like, wow, that was such a different time. I was a different person. Look at where I am. Look at the qualities that I have now that I didn't have. Or a lot of the time when I smell something that was from like a pretty hard time in my life, I'm always like, wow, I am the woman I was trying to be. I'm the woman with the qualities that I was trying to have back then. And it's like, so proud of myself. I'm so grateful. And it's just smell, nostalgia, they go hand in hand. The memories it brings back, I think it strips us of our judgments and perceptions and just takes us back to our core of like, what do we want? What values do we want in our life? What are the qualities that we want to have as a person? What are the qualities of the people we want to have in our life? And that's so powerful, because when we have that awareness of what we want for ourselves and for our lives, then we work towards it. And I think that's why so many things happen in spring and summer, because you get a taste of what you want. You get a taste of what's good for you, what's going to make you feel like absolutely bubbling with love and light. And then you go for it. You actually put into place actionable steps to get there. And it's because of all these triggers that you're having, all these memories going on that are being like provoked by smells. And I think it's so fascinating. Spring is so crazy like that, because you have a smell and it triggers some sort of memory, and then it triggers the nostalgia and the feelings, the gratitude, or something that you really want to work towards, and it just reminds you of how fun and playful life is. When you're just living in the moment, life is so enjoyable, and it's because of the memories that come with all the flowers blossoming, all these specific smells coming together to make concoctions of just something random that your brain is like, that reminds me of this time when, don't you remember how good that was? Or don't you remember how much you've changed since then? Like, it's amazing. It's so beautiful. And I think we are flowers in the sense of flowers all bloom similar times. Spring is a time where everything's coming out, everything's coming alive. The flowers are all like blooming, looking towards the sun, saying hey to each other. And we're doing the exact same thing. We're coming out of our homes. We see the sun is out and we're like, it's a good day to go to the beach. It's a good day to go to the markets. It's a good day to go for a swim. And we're all doing it. We all want to get outside. And when we're all in that mindset of wanting to get outside and be curious and connect and be playful, we come together. We have chats with randoms, like the amount of people I've had conversations with just randomly on the street, because we're all coming out. We're out of hibernation and we're ready to be social and play and get to know strangers, and it's wonderful. But we're helping each other in that sense of we're all connecting and moving towards more of what brings us joy, and we're moving towards more of the things that we want for ourselves. And so we're attracting people that are on the similar wavelength or page. And if you think about it, like bees pollinating other flowers in order to get them to grow and reproduce and survive, it's like we're going out and we're sprinkling our magic and our energy onto a stranger that we meet, and maybe we make a connection or a friendship or whatever, and they take that with them, and then they sprinkle a bit of that, their energy and their beauty, to other people, and we're all just like giving parts of ourselves to other people, and it's all just like going around. We're helping each other grow. Like the experiences that we're having with other people during spring is leaving memorable experiences in other people's minds. It's something for us to look back on next year and think, I really loved how much of a sense of community I was getting during that time. I'm going to keep striving towards that. By all of us getting out there and interacting with one another during spring and during summer, we're giving each other experiences to unpack in the next winter. Like in 6 months from now, we're going to reflect on this time of traveling, of moving, of making the most of the sun and the summer and the people that we met. Like we're going to reflect on that in 6 months' time, unpack what we loved about it, what we didn't like, what we are moving towards, what we want to move away from. And it's incredible because we're all just out here, just like the flowers and nature. We're all helping each other to up-level, to learn, to grow, to have wonderful experiences, and to just exist together. And it's really lovely and beautiful. So in saying all of that, how do we channel spring's energies? There's so much potent love and light and laughter and joy and fun around during spring. So how do we channel that? How do we tap into that? How do we have even more fun and even more, experiences that are aligned to us during spring? I think the obvious one is a spring clean out. It actually only just hit me today why it's called a spring clean out. I was like, after doing my little research on flowers blooming, I was like, spring clean out makes sense, because spring, it's a new season. You want to get rid of the old. You've done all of your hard work clearing out all the stagnant energy over winter, and now you're like, new me, the sun's come out, I'm gonna have a party, like I want to get rid of my clothes, be a whole new person, I want to clean the house, like get rid of all my trash that I don't need. It's the perfect time to do it. Like everything is aligning. the nature is aligning, it's aligning with you internally. Like, it's the perfect time. Spring clean out. Just get rid of things you don't need. Get rid of things that aren't you anymore. Let yourself change and grow and evolve. Another thing to do, obviously, is get outside, enjoy the sun. Get outside, move, play, be silly outside, go barefoot, go on little walks, don't wear shoes. Although, last night, my housemates and their friends and I, we went for a walk in the dark and barefoot, and we're like, oh, let's go. We were coming here, actually, and literally walked across the road to come into this wetlands area, and shit you not, I got like 6 prickles in my foot, and I was like, ow! So be mindful of that. It is spring and it's wonderful, but there's lots of seeds around. Some of them are spiky, so be barefoot, but bring a pair of shoes just in case you need them. That's always my go-to. Definitely a good idea. Plant seeds is another one, and you can do that physically in the garden, or you can do that metaphorically, do it internally. Gardening is so wholesome, and it's one of those practices that you do that just grounds you. It gets you back to the basics, whether you're planting like food or flowers or things. Like, you're just getting your hands in the dirt, you're connecting, you're grounding yourself just back to the earth, back to where we're all from. Or metaphorical seeds, plant some of those. Like, think about what you want to achieve over spring, or who you want to meet, or what you want to do. Just have a little think about some of the things that you want to work towards, and yeah, just plant the seeds for that. Do a couple of little things that's going to pay off. Connect with people as well. Go out and talk to a stranger. Go and socialize with some people. There are so many like meetup groups and things, like just public events and things that happen. Go to one of those. But yeah, go out, get out there, connect with people, and yeah, invite people into your life, because you can make some really wonderful connections and friendships with people when you're just willing to let people in and to let people see you. And spring's the perfect time for that, because everyone is like ready. Everyone's like, oh my God, I want to like make new friends. I want to step into this new version of myself. It's the perfect time. It is. Like, ask and you shall receive. Someone who is perfectly aligned with you is going to come into your life. So go out and just like put yourself out there and let people connect with you. Another thing that you can do to channel spring's energy is go for swims, get in the ocean, go for freshwater dips. Like, usually over winter things are quite cold and you want to submerge yourself in a body of water, but it's like, oh, it's a little bit icy for me. Now is the perfect time. The water's heating up, the ocean's getting warmer, all of the waterfalls are starting to warm up, and it's just a treat. And it's almost symbolic of you're washing away all of the stagnant energy from winter, all of the things that you've been processing and unpacking is all just like, let it go, let it come up and let it go out and just float in the water as it all drains out of you. It's delicious. That's another thing you can do that feels amazing. And I'm going to say the last little suggestion I have for you is to journal. If you have not listened to my previous episode about journaling and nature play, I think this one falls in there a lot. Like, if you want to learn a bit more about journaling and how to do it and just some prompts and things, go listen to my last episode. No, I think it's episode 25. I will pop it in the description of this episode as well, so you can find it there. But it's a pretty good one. I chat about all things journaling and how to do it and how to feel safe and doing it in nature and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, channel spring's energy through journaling. I always find it's really helpful to start with thinking about the biggest challenge or hurdle or realization that you had during winter? Like, what was something that was kind of a struggle for you that you were working on and you're trying to move through? And think about if you've achieved it, because you probably have without even realizing. But yeah, jot down just a couple things that have been just the biggest hurdle for you in the last 3 months over winter. Another really good prompt coming into spring is, what are you moving towards? Because spring is all about, flourishing and thriving and changing and evolving and becoming a new version of yourself, much like the flowers are blooming and becoming, new, beautiful, pretty flowers. What are you moving towards? What are you trying to grow into? What are you hoping to incorporate into your life? Try and make it not material things. Don't be like, I want to get a pay rise or really want to save up for this car. Unless it's like essential, you actually need a car in order to live your most wholesome life. Think about qualities, energies, connections with people, values, beliefs. What are the things that you're moving towards in that sense? What are the things that you're trying to incorporate in your life that's going to make your life even better than what it is now? And then how are you going to do that? What are some actionable steps that are going to get you to those places? And lastly, another beautiful little journal prompt is, what are you inviting more of into your life? What are you welcoming? You're not working towards it. You're like, if it comes into your life, you're going to say, hell yes. What are you inviting more of? More playfulness? More fun? More dancing? More chats with friends? More time with your girlfriends? What are you inviting more of? It's like a non-negotiable. What amazing, fun, vibrant things are you inviting into your life because you know it makes you happy and it makes your life that much better? Have a ponder on those things and even do a couple of those journal prompts as well. It's always just like a really nice way to reflect on where you're at and what you're doing and who you are, and it's really beautiful. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening along. And I hope you've really enjoyed this episode all about spring and blooming and thriving and blossoming, and you can take something away from it and bring it into your real life and absolutely thrive. Thank you so much for listening. Share it around if you liked it. Let me know what you think. Go check out the videos on YouTube and TikTok and all of the sorts. I'll see you again next week. Thank you so much. The world is waiting for you, so get on out there and enjoy your big, beautiful life. Bye!